Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. I am so glad that you have joined us today. I have interviewed people all over the nation and the world, and I also discovered there's beauty in the house. And there is beauty in the house of the Lord that I attend in Virginia Beach, and I've had an opportunity to interview a few people right from the church I go to, and today's one of those special people. A serial entrepreneur from Virginia Beach, Daniel Davis. I'm so glad to have you with us, Daniel.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Andy. I'm so glad to be here and I'm excited. Yeah.
Daniel, he also often is up at the front and leading as a host, and excited young man, excited story. And I got to know a little bit more about him as we prepared for this interview. Tell me, Daniel, a little bit about yourself. What do you do and why do you do it?
Yes. So I'm a serial entrepreneur, as Andy said. And basically, what that means is I am part of multiple businesses. I have a foot reflexology spa, also do Airbnb and do some business consulting for business owners.
Yeah.
And the reason why I do these things is because one door opens after another. And honestly, I don't know how I got here today. But it was really just a God thing. And I'm honestly just blessed to be where I'm at today. And the crazy thing is, I'm 34 and I've been doing business since 2014. And I used to, before I graduated from college in 2012, I worked for corporate for a couple of years. And then just one day I was in my cubicle in front of my computer and I was like, man, I felt this like word that says, Daniel, you're made for more than this. And so I got bold and quit my job like 2 weeks later. And then I started my own thing with a friend and we've been doing it ever since. And the crazy thing about this whole journey so far has been that even though I'm doing, just multiple things, I'm still, I'm in this place right now until 2022. I'm in this fresh place right now where I'm still wanting to discover really my kingdom assignment. And maybe we can go into more of that later, but that's where I'm at now, and I'm still like in this discovery mode of really who I am and really how I can use my gifts and experiences and education and in life to like really do something what God's really called me to do. And so I'm still in this journey, and so that's what's interesting about this whole thing. Where I'm at today.
I think it's important to on a fresh everyday basis actually to say what do you want me to do today, what's new today, because sometimes we hear from that God told us to do something back a few years ago and we stay on it and not willing to move from it. And he says, now that was just a chapter. What are you still staying in that chapter for? I got other things for you to step out for. But if we're not looking for what God has for us.
Yeah.
One of the things that you also shared with me is that you love to do one-on-one consulting with businesses as well, right?
Right.
Mastermind.
Yeah, mastermind strategy sessions. And yeah, about that. I one of the most fun things for me, and I think I get the most fulfillment out of all the things I do, is when I'm able to sit down with one of our business clients that has a business, and just go over some strategies of how we can upscale their business to the next level. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we name our consulting business called Greater Level Consulting, is because we really want to take people to the next level, take their ideas to the next level. And so that's one of the funnest things I think I do right now.
And it takes a collaboration. It takes also giving up to allow somebody to help you with that step. When you were talking about this, I said, this reminds me of a lot of people that I've talked to in the film industry, that somebody writes the original screenplay, but it takes screenplay writers to do the rewrites to make
Yeah.
it the film that it is today. And you're helping people take their vision and rewriting it, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, that is fun.
and that fresh perspective of having somebody come in with a new set of eyes and the knowledge base that you have saying, well, we could change the color scheme, we could change the branding, we ought to, and these are things that we need to work on. That's what you do in your business, in your consulting, right?
Yes. So we help clients, all different types of categories with marketing, with branding, um, maybe just a website they need to be developed, help them with customer service if they have a service based business. Also, if they have a business, we can help them create more positive reviews for the business so they can get more people in the door into their business. And those are some of the aspects that we do in the services that we provide for our consulting business.
Yeah. uh Business world has changed quite a bit so now than it used to be. You put your ad on the yellow pages, and that was good enough. But now there's just so many different aspects to make a successful business, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, and one of the biggest things that we like to focus on is like the review base because we do live in a review based culture now. The more positive reviews you have, that's just the reality of life is that the more people are going to want to try your business, especially people that never been there or never heard of it. When they see those reviews online, they're definitely going to want to go try that business, even if it's a restaurant or some type of service that you provide. And so we help people get their reviews up and get positive reviews. And we have some different techniques of how to do that. Mm-hmm.
When we were talking, I was sharing with you, I says, this is not unlike our walk with Christ. We need to come beside folks. You're a small group leader, so am I, and get into small group. We need to get with community and get with brothers and sisters in Christ to help do that same collaboration, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like you. I like how you said that, Andy. I kind of want to like kind of bring in. I use, I guess, some of my business ideas and techniques and experiences, really sometimes to promote my small group if I ever like have one. Like, for example, last semester, the small groups for our church during the summertime, I actually made some cool business cards I designed, and I had two co-leads and I gave them the business cards as well to pass out to people to get people into our group just to reach people that are far from Christ, and just make it kind of interesting and make it fun. And so that's one of the things that I think I use in the business world. I can bring into the church world as well. So
Yeah, and I like to call it transferable knowledge. A lot of times the transferable knowledge, one thing you learn in one area, that's preparation for the next thing you do.
yeah,
And I know when I was training, and my job, I just retired, when I was training nurses in a certain educational experiences, the things that worked was things I did as a pastor. And I didn't say that I learned this as a pastor, or things I learned as a child evangelist or child's pastor. That's transferable knowledge. And we
mm,
ought to think across the board, what are we learning from one thing that will spill into something else that can help us with God's purpose, plan, and direction for us?
yeah, that's good. I agree.
Yeah.
Transferable knowledge.
You you got saved. You were telling me that you got saved because you drove by a church. You felt God told you to go to that church, right?
Yeah, I don't know how. Like I said, I didn't grow up in a church home. Um, I had a mom that worked two jobs, and I pretty much, helped raise my younger brother. And I didn't have anyone really around me that went to church, so I didn't really hear the gospel or anything like that. And it's crazy. I was, yeah, my junior year in high school, 2005, and I was just driving Virginia Beach Boulevard, and then I saw like this sign that said Gateway Baptist Community Church, and I felt like God said, "Hey, you need to go to that church this Sunday." I don't know why. And then I went there that Sunday and I gave my life to Christ because it was an altar call that day, after the message. And I felt led to do that. I just did it. And then the next week they said they're gonna do baptisms next week. And so I felt like I needed to do that too. And so the following week I went back and then I got baptized. I had opportunity to invite some family and friends, to see me get baptized, and then the journey began there, and then all types of stuff started to happen during my walk with Christ, and been a believer for so long, for just a long period of time. Like doing my own thing still into the world and one foot into the church, and um, I used to be any outie Christian. And what that basically means is that I'll just go to church on Sunday, and as soon as the service ends, I'm not talking to nobody. I'm out of there. I'm just out of there. And I would party on Saturday, go to church on Sunday, and I don't know, man, I was a mess. And then but really God really got me. He really got me. This 2022 is today. 6 years from today, went to this conference, and this conference was in Italy because my wife's from Sicily. So we was in Italy at the time, and we got invited to this conference. It was an international conference. It was like multiple countries there, people from different countries there. It was actually one of those conferences where there's thousands of people, and I had a headset because the only language they were speaking was Spanish and Italian, and so I didn't know any Spanish or Italian at the time, and I still really don't. And they had a translator to translate this whole message. It was like a 2-day conference. And it was during one of these segments in the conference that the teaching pastor at the time, they did like this altar call. They said, hey, there's some people here in this building that is struggling with unforgiveness, and also you're struggling with some addictions as well, and you need to come to the front, and God's going to do something big right now today. And so at the time, my wife, she was like, you should go up there, and she knew what I was dealing with. She encouraged me to go up there. And actually a nice little shove encouragement. She pushed me to the middle of the aisle, and I was like, okay. So
Wives are good for that, aren't they?
Yeah. Behind every great man is a great wife.
Yes.
And that's what happened. And so I went to the front, and it was like hundreds of young people, young adults in the front, and the pastor was praying over people, and I'm not sure what to expect, but I just said out loud, I said, God, just do what you do. And I had my hands out, and then they say, okay, say this prayer after me. It's like one of those forgiveness prayers where you repeat after the pastor. And they said, I forgive so and so, and said the person's name. And the person I'm talking about it was my mom. And I said the person's name, my mom's name, and then all of a sudden, like, my body started getting warm, and then it got really hot, and I started to sweat, and then I started just crying, just profusely crying like a baby. And I got on my knees, I was crying, sobbing, snot all over the place. And then I got back on my feet, and then when I got back on my feet and I stopped crying, it felt like a 100-pound backpack. I just like took it off. And it was through, unforgiveness. I held for so long as a believer, and I thought I'd forgiven the person when I was a believer, but I guess I didn't. And God just revealed to me that this is what you need to do. Yeah. And so God did that thing to me. And then that day when I forgave my mom, like that addiction I was struggling with as a believer for so long, it stopped immediately after that conference, after that prayer, after that moment of forgiveness. And I haven't dealt with that addiction since then, like 6 years ago from today. And so really, that was my first time experiencing like really God's supernatural power over my life, like in a physical way. And hey, and till day, I tell people this: I'm not perfect, but I'm in progress. Yeah. And so that's just been my walk so far, and I've been maturing in Christ ever since then, and not having one foot in and one foot out, anymore. And so I'm excited to see what God does in my life. And Andy, I just want to tell you real quick, just to add on top of that crazy story, I've been seeing just miracle signs and wonders ever since then. Like, just for like an example, like during COVID, and the past 2 years, 2020, 2021, has been like the hardest years of my life, man. And I remember we was talking about earlier here on this what we're talking about today. You talked about how, like, we're in this progress, right? You put these milestones as a believer, like, oh man, God did that. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next thing. God did that. And 2022, you said something about like God wants to really do some big things in people's lives that has been preparing for 2021 through that hard time. They've been digging deep. I was forced to dig deep in 2020,
Yeah.
21. I was forced. And long story short, the things I was going through, my granddad died of COVID. I was dealing with some like legal trouble with a business that I had with, a family member, and God got me through that. Like it could have ended really badly. I was like literally facing some bad things in my life, and God really showed up in that moment. Um, and then also having a hard time because I was a new parent at the time, and we had our first child named Jonathan, me and my wife, and it was our first child, and we really was having a hard time like parenting. It was a tough like 7 months, because of sleeping and everything, and with everything else added on top of that. And so God was really like, man, just trying to like dig into me, where it's like, Daniel, listen, I want you to draw close to me during this difficult time, because this is where I'm going to show you who you really are. This is where I'm going to show you your next steps in the kingdom assignment that I have for you. And this is where you're going to grow. This is where I'm gonna put you in the fire, and then I'm going to refine you. I'm going to take some impurities out of you. I'm going to take some of this stuff out of you that you've been struggling with, anger and maybe some doubt. And I'm going to make you a stronger believer, a stronger husband, a stronger leader for the church. And so 2022, I'm excited to see what God does. I just feel it in my bones that something amazing is about to happen, and that's where I'm at.
Thank you so much for sharing this. Like I was saying, I look around the nation and the world for people to put on morning moments, and there's like there's beauty in the house. And when I think about the story that God has just within our own house, our own church, there's that message. You need to share this message with other people. There's people that you need to pass this on with. And thank you. I'm going to put some information down below. Maybe you have a business you want some consulting with, and you need to hear a little bit more of what Daniel's doing. Please get a hold of them and pray for them as they continue to be used by God. Thank you so much for joining me, Daniel.
No problem. No problem at all. Thank you so much, Andy, for allowing me to just be here with you and to talk to you, to get to know you more. And then, God's got amazing things for you, man. And for what you're doing, these interviews with people, and everyone has a story to share. Yeah. And so I'm excited to see what happens with that.
And thank you for joining me for Morning Moments. And I'm going to ask you, if you would, keep on coming back, and may God bless you.